In our last two sessions, we discussed a letter from a man whose wife had told him about an affair. We talked about the cause of the affair, a lifetime of emptiness and fear, and how blaming each other and figuring out who was the most at fault would be a waste of time. What will most productively change their lives and their relationship is if they both see how they were empty and afraid, and how they were both screaming, "I don't love you," at each other with their getting and protecting behaviors. Then the blaming can stop, and they can begin the process of making different choices, more productive choices. Now, back to the writer of the letter. I know you feel confused and betrayed here, but remember that you've both been drowning for a very long time. You were both thrown into a relationship without the one ingredient, real love, absolutely essential to success in a marriage. Your marriage was doomed before you even met. If you really understand that, you can let go of the blaming and the anger. When you really understand what's been happening, you can see that all this time you've been crippled by ignorance and lack of resources. But now you get to start over, almost like newborns. Before you got married, you didn't know anything about relationships. But now you do. Now you finally stand a chance, so give it a chance. The past is utterly irrelevant. What difference does it make that you made mistakes when you were blind and stupid? The past is nothing. Think of it as another life. And now, relax. The huge changes in your marriage don't have to take place all at once. Change can happen one small step at a time. And the beauty of these steps is that they're simple. Although changing our lives can certainly be difficult, change almost always is, it doesn't have to be complicated. It all starts with simply telling the truth about ourselves. Very simple. And you can greatly facilitate the process of truth-telling if you separate it into two kinds. First, there's telling the truth in order to find real love. And second, there's telling the truth in order to increase understanding and diffuse conflict. Let's look at these two separate kinds of truth-telling. One of the very important reasons we tell the truth about ourselves is to create opportunities for other people to see us, accept us, and love us. Now, if we're in a troubled relationship like you are with your wife, it can be quite unrealistic to tell the truth about ourselves under those conditions with that person for the purpose of finding real love. When people are in conflict, they usually do not have real love to give us. So expecting them to give us what they don't have just creates more frustration and conflict. So we have to be careful to tell the truth about ourselves for the purpose of finding love only with people who appear to have some capacity to be loving. So when you're having conflict with your spouse, you have to be careful not to tell the truth about yourself with her for the purpose of getting her to love you. Make sense? She doesn't have it to give. Now, the second reason for telling the truth about ourselves is to diffuse conflict. And that is something you can do with your wife. You can tell her the truth about the mistakes you've made in your relationship just so the conflict doesn't escalate, not so she'll love you. And the truth told for this reason can still be quite productive. In our next session, we'll talk about how truth-telling can look in practical terms, including examples.